Good day and good evening and welcome to Dailies Hangout stream with me, Caetsu Chaiji, but just call me Kai. Tonight, we're doing dailies as usual. I'll be playing whatever job for the expert roulette, and then we pretty much just do Gunbreaker for the rest of them to level Gunbreaker some. If something feels different on the stream, like maybe it's lagging a bit more or something else is weird, I spent most of today trying to get my big monster PC to work right. But something has happened. I don't know if it's specifically that new BIOS update from Asus that has caused the problems. It might not only be that, it could be a mix of things. But it cannot run OBS without crashing, and Final Fantasy XIV crashes regularly, so it would be very frustrating to run a stream like that. Fortunately, my backup PC named The Chainsaw runs the game pretty fine, so I think we'll make do. But it doesn't have quite as stable a frame rate, so if you start to see a lot, like if you see a lot of frame drops, then you'll know why. Angel says, why is it called Chainsaw? Back in this, like, so originally, let's take that story. This PC I bought, like, I think, like around January 2 years ago. And it ran fine. There's never, ever been any issues with it. Ever. It has always just worked. It's really good for when it was bought as a 3080. It's decent PC. But around, like, I think like 9 months of age, one of the fans would sometimes start rattling like crazy. But usually it would only do it for a little bit. And then it would just stop again. And sometimes it would, like, then it wouldn't happen for like a month or more. And like, I'd forget about it, and then it would happen again just long enough that I would get worried, and then it would stop again. And then, like, about a year ago, actually, it started to rattle more frequently. Like, it was more like sometimes would go a week without hearing it, but then it would do it regularly for a day, just to remind me that there is the possibility that it is permanent. And by November, I started to have issues that basically was like, whenever I started streaming, I started just praying that it would hold it together for the stream and not start rattling. And somehow, not once did it cause problems. And it reached a point where I couldn't really record audio because it would rattle so frequently that you would be able to, it would sound like someone was drilling something in the background of all of my videos if I did that. But I didn't have a good backup machine. My backup was the laptop you might have seen in like function back around Ramu Extreme Countdown, I believe. And that meant that if I needed to to get this fixed, I basically would have, as far as I knew, no PC. So my solution was just buy a new, better PC. And that I did around December, which is the monster. I used to call it something else, but it's out there. But at this point, it's just the monster. Both in the way that it is quite a beastly PC, I would say, but also because I've had problems on and off with this machine since January this year. And now it's back again. Like, it's bad again. And I need to get it back to the manufacturer. They've already said, we'll look at it, we'll get it working, whatever it takes, we will make it stable. But I need to send it to them. But that took all day for me to, like, set up the backup machine again so that it is ready, everything's working, test the the monster so that I know for certain that it is balked, that I don't send it in and they're like, it's working perfectly fine. If you turn on the machine, log in, open OBS, and switch to, like, you saw the pre-stream scene, it will crash OBS within 5 minutes. Why? I don't know, but it didn't do that Saturday, but it is doing it now. And Final Fantasy XIV will crash after a while as well. You stand here, there's some places where it doesn't seem to crash as frequently, but you stand at my house for an hour at most, it will crash. For some reason. It'll also crash in Shaloni. Around where the Aspies, the snakes, spawn. It will consistently crash there for some reason. Like, there are spots it will crash. But there's no, like, system in where or why. Now, that's story time. And that's it. Hey Strut, hey Angel, hey Zap, hey Gazel, hey Ceres, hey Gureen, hey Valen, hey Taldeva, hey Chester, hey Kazaragoon, hey Rust, hey Menely, hey Zynite, hey Derby, hey Monica, hey Aradel, hey Bad Angel, hey Liv, and hey Brontom. I hope you're all doing very well. Right. Good point, Aradel. Let's grab a Wondrous Tales. I have not done that. I basically spent all day just testing that my game works. And Cat, hope you're doing well as well. Yeah, that is it's not fun when the game crashes. Like, imagine trying to just do a leveling roulette and your game crashes once or twice during the dungeon. Like, you don't see like two-thirds of the trash bags. Hey Rivix, hope you're doing well. And hey Ham, hope you're doing well as well. Right then, so we had story time, and we have our Wondrous Tales. What do we have in it? Oh yeah, by the way, I think I saw Caetsu complain about this earlier. If the story with Wondrous Tales is, if you have a level 100, then you get an additional line of rewards. You would want that. But it also means that you can be offered any of the Wondrous Tales tasks. Whereas if you don't have a level 100, I believe it's only up to level 60. They might have changed it to 70, but normally it would mean that if you're only level, like if you only have a max level 899, you could see this and this, but not this, this, or this. Or this, for example. Only show you content for up to level 60, which would mean that you have a much higher likelihood of getting something easy like Ultimate Weapon Extreme. But if you have a level 100, this one is guaranteed. It will always be on your Wondrous Tales, specifically the level 100 one. And also like a much higher chance you'll get higher level stuff on it. But this one is inescapable. Always gives you Bismarck Extreme. That one almost feels like a whiff. It takes so long. See, Dave says that's basically how the Xbox Dawntrail launch was. Going to any area risked a crash. Exactly. Yesterday, I played with such an unstable game experience that I almost chose to not go into Frontline because I was scared that my game would crash. Ultimately, we decided to do it, and my game didn't crash, but it crashed like in 2 duties prior to that, and like right after I'd finished all my dailies, I was like, all right, let's take a good relaxing talk afterwards. Boom, crash. It was like the computer was just like, oh, you're done? Right, where were we? So that was sad. Hey, Zavik. Hope you're doing well. And hey, Kylan, hope you're doing well as well. That's awesome. Right. With that said, if you would like to join me for Expert Roulette, come on over to me. I will flex so I can play whatever role. Wow, so many people. Can we? I think we can make... we're not... Wait, we're 10. We're 10. If Angel and Aradel want to join in, we can have 3 Expert Roulette groups. Cyanide says they're coming. That could also work. Right. Looks like I am DPSing. A race to do expert. I can wait for us to get multiple groups, and then we just get really, like, we just get 3 completely different duties. There's the chance. Derby, have you used a Fantasia? Or do I just not remember what your character looks like? Hey Ike, hope you're doing well. You were in Mikoto before. Yeah, I did think there was something weird. Something that didn't line up. I think Cyanide is coming. I believe that's Grey Salem. So if there is a group 3 forming, that's something worth keeping in mind. And looking at this lineup, I'm guessing this might be the group 3. I don't know. Derby starting group 3. But you know, the saddest part about all this PC shenanigans is that where I spent all day trying to like have a working PC, I had planned to work on videos all day, which I didn't get to do. That's the big oof. It's probably be fine. It's really annoying. Dave says, my Fantasia experience in a nutshell. Catgirl, Aura for several expansions. Female Ellison for 5 minutes. I imagine Ariel will be sad to hear that. Catboy for Dawntrail until now, where you're a feminine male Lala. I have both of the free Fantasias I've been given by the game. Hey Twin, hope you're doing well. Cyanide, were you on the way? I see group 3 is waiting for you. Well, you're in game. Thank you, Taldemar. That's fair, Dave. It is a... Like, I play the second shortest race gender combination in the game. I can totally understand that. I also said previously that I think LSN look great. I'm just not good at making them look great. Hey Dark Zero, hope you're doing well. And also hey Haberdasher, hope you're doing well as well. You're out there in the distance. Pretend I didn't go to the wrong ward. That explains. I was here thinking like, how long can it take? Like how long could it possibly take to walk here? Lanafel's also adorable. I just like I feel like for me, I feel like I can dress Small Dragon in a bit more ways than a Lalafell. Just me personally, it's just, like it's basically the same thing as the Ellison problem. And I think Lalafells look great. It's just I can do a little bit more with a Small Dragon. So do we have 3 groups? Hey Toby, thank you so much. I hope you're having a great day as well. Small guy looks great too. Thank you. But she doesn't change outfit that often. Right. Well, I hope you've all done your ready checks. So food and parts, that's optional. I imagine that the most impactful thing is whether we do boss 1 correctly. Like, that's by far going to be the most significant thing for our time. No worries, Derby. This is no more a race than the fun of it. I'll keep it in mind if we're, like, out and you're missing. These dailies start with a circus, hope they don't end with a circus. And here comes the... Well, I guess it's not the fun part. Yeah. Ow. Oh, no! Flap. It's been 0 days since Kai has been benoggined. Been hatted. I should probably have done Vice Winder first. My damage buff is running out! No! I don't think I made that. Oh. Well. Hey, Solization. Hope you're doing well. That sound effect when Viper uses Reawakened is so loud. Yeah, the dings are quite something, right? Also, hey, Philippe. Hope you're doing well. It is very satisfying. I've actually also noticed, playing a bit more Ninja recently, that I feel like Ninja also has a lot of, in its burst, various actions that make ding sounds in the same way. And not just like the 10 GG and going ding, ding, ding when you do the hand signs, but like other things than that. So I don't know if it's like a scouting thing. They've just decided, these jobs ding. Any of you ever accidentally queue for leveling instead of expert? I've not had that. I have not accidentally done that, no. But I could see how that would be annoying, because then, like, that day's XP is just wasted, right? Oh yeah, the penalty. I have that. I've done that once. There was this one time where we queued for leveling roulette, and I didn't realize that I forgot to put on limited leveling until we already entered. I was like, okay, well, we all leave so that we can queue properly. Coco got penalty for it, and she's not let me live it down since. So yeah. If you queue for a roulette, once you're in, don't, like, if you don't want the penalty, don't leave. Do you mean the crafter ding? Oh yeah, that one's sharp as well. What is it with this one? I believe Zaf is somewhere around where it's going to be safe. I think. Nope. Oh, the biggest nope, that's wrong you could get is healer dies. Alright then. The reason, like, so some of you might be sitting there thinking, why didn't you just look at the teacups? it seems like they're reasonably predictable in the second set. So if you can just figure out how they work, like where they go, then you don't have to look at them. You just need to learn the system. And if you always look at them, then you might not learn the system. You just learn how to look at it. It is funny that it can be easy to just remember the safe spot. But it is simply, it is a side effect of the mechanic not having enough variety. It's the same thing as, has any of you done Tender Valley recently? How many configurations do they have for the labyrinth at the end? Feels like they have 2. And then it's just random which corner that one of those 2 configurations go to. Yeah, I know, like, with the way that the area looks, it's not like there's space for a lot. But I'm just saying, you get the one where it's like a bit out, and then like a horseshoe shape, and then all the way around to the safe spot. So often that you'd think there's only one configuration. There's a gimmick here. If you're ranged and you go up the staircase, then you can actually vertically outrange the floor smacks from the dolls. So that is something that could be sort of useful if you have a ranged job in the group that wants to stand up there. But it is pretty funny that it's an option. Like, it's so on the nose that it almost feels like it's a direct reference to when I made that Mythbusters video where I talked about the vertical range of attacks. This specific area interacts with that by accident. Yeah, exactly, Dave. That is a good point. Imagine, look at... You can look at my gameplay, you could look at any melee DPS's gameplay and go, how often do they miss the positional? Imagine if that broke the combo. Man, that would suck. I think I have to do a regular combo after this so I don't let my buff drop. Yeah, it would take 12 seconds to do another full reawaken. I think it's better to do it like this. Hades, is that you? What do you mean? Losing your your combos because you missed a positional? That did a lot of damage. Oh. Nailed it. The boss uses the same name as Hades. Oh. Well, I'm guessing that it might be that they're both like drawing inspiration from a similar reference. Is that a possibility? Here's a tip there. You can control where the ghosts spawn, because they'll always spawn in the quadrant you're in. And if you're a melee DPS, the only way to keep full damage uptime without getting blasted by them is by making sure that they actually go in the side, where the wall of ghosts are in. What's up? What happened? Little hiccup. Ah. Yeah, I also noticed that I had a little bit of a frame drops, so that could have been that. Did we finish first? Exactly, if you're already ghost, then the poltergeist rocks or books will not hurt you. So you can just stand in the middle and wait for the safe spot, or the optimal spot. Dave says back in the day every monk attack was a positional. I believe that there was, however, the detail that monks switching form when they did their positional right, like even if they did their positional wrong, was still the case back then. It was just that the way monks' potencies worked is that greased lightning, which was a buff they maintained, like by doing combos, gave them like 10, 20, 30, and then later in Shadowbringers, 40% more damage output, meant that the actual potencies of their attacks kinda looked garbage. Like, they're actually really low. A little bit like how Black Mage has, like, you know, Fire 4 is 320 potency, but then you actually take a closer look and realize that, well, they have Maim and Mend, so it's actually 30% bigger than that, but they also have Enochian, so it's actually 33% bigger than that, and then, well, it's also an Astral Fire, so it's like 80% bigger than that, and you add that to 320, and then you realize that Fire 4 is actually 995 or 996 potency, and then you're like, why? So it's a little bit like that. And back then, I believe monks still had like plus 40 or plus 60 potency for getting their positionals right. And the auto crit on Bootshine was actually the positional benefit. Like, you had to have the correct form and also hit from the back. Otherwise, it didn't crit. At least not automatically. So those massive potency differences meant that while your combo continued forward, even if you did the positional wrong, your damage sucked. Angel says we started later. Well, I only see one group here. When you say the stream had a hiccup, how, like, did it completely cut out for a second? Or was it just clearly lagging? Oh, that's what you meant, Solicization. That's also true. For some reason, I thought you meant Hades the game. It just cut out for a second. Yeah, that can happen. Vashti says, I did not experience anything, but yeah, if so, it should have happened when I updated NVIDIA. In fairness, I'm pretty sure if I've had something running while I updated NVIDIA, it would usually just like stop completely when like at a specific point in the installation. So that wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, sometimes it can cut out for a second. That also sometimes happened on the other machine. It could have been that I lost connection for a second. It could also be that YouTube had a hiccup for a second. Yeah, that is true, Solization. Traumerei uses basically the exact model, or rather the skeleton, that Hades uses, which leads to some kind of funny things where you're like, huh. Like, if you imagine Traumerei in Hades' spot, or Hades in Traumerei's spot, because it's exactly the same, like, it's the same skeleton. They move the same way. But yeah, exactly. I see only one group, so while Angel's group got out late, what happened to the other one? Or was that the thing that Ham was talking about? With getting penalty? Hmm. I see, Kylan. But, yeah. It is, it is annoying, but it is understandable that even if you have a full pre-made, if you queue for roulette, and then someone leaves, it penalizes you in the exact same way as if you had left like a random group. It makes sense, because if it didn't punish you if you left when you have a full pre-made for a random roulette, then it would mean that you could just queue for expert roulette, get straight by roulette walk and go, well, I don't want to do that, and then you just all leave, queue again, and then you get straight by roulette walk and you're like, I don't want to do that, hop out again, you just keep doing it until you get Tender Valley. So that, like, it makes sense why it isn't allowed. It's the same as, yeah, you could also go, like, QMSQ roulette and be like, I want Porta de Comana. And you get Praetorium. You just leave immediately. You just go in again. No, Castrum. Leave immediately. So it makes sense why it is like that. However, I do think that it would be nice if it was a little bit more clear about that when you leave. Because if you leave, I'm pretty sure the warning you get when you try to leave a duty is the same. It's just like, it just goes, if so-and-so, then so-and-so. But you can just leave if it's like a specific queue with a full pre-made. But no, Dave, if you have a full pre-made, then if you queue for, say, Yokatumu specifically with your full pre-made, then you can leave and there's no penalty. We know this. We tested this specifically because I rely on this for my solo challenge streams. Because I need 3 players to bring me in. And then they need to be able to leave without risking punishment. That's important. But if you queue for a roulette, the first person to leave will get a 30-minute penalty. Which is the same penalty for the first person that leaves in a full random group. But it's only for random roulettes that this happens. Only if they're random. Yeah, let's see, Dark Theory says, reusing a skeleton I'd say is great for saving development resources. Absolutely! Making entire new skeletons with animations is rather time consuming. Definitely. I'm not saying, this looks like Hades, huh? Cheapos? Like, no. I'm saying, this looks like Hades. That's kind of funny. It's also good use of resources, right? They managed to reuse this rather specific skeleton somehow. Ham says, at least the one who messed up queuing for the correct roulette was also the one who got the penalty, and I didn't block someone else out for 30 minutes. I guess that's true. Probably also saving you some disk space. Yeah, also that. But it might not necessarily be easier, like, to design the creature as a result. Making it obvious is a bit jarring. That's true. Let me put it like this. I didn't notice that Talmai was same skeleton as Hades the first, 3 or 4 times I went in. It was just one day I went in and I had the mental space to, look at him and go, wait a minute. He's standing exactly like Hades. And then I see him do, that, move back animation for a specific attack. I'm like, that's exactly like Hades does it. Huh, that's weird. When you realize Omega is a modified frog, it causes some mental damage. Oh yeah, he is. He even, tips his head left and right, just like the frogs do. I guess not everyone is back yet. Or maybe? Looks like everyone is back. Neos use Gathash rig a lot. Oh yeah, they do. Frog Omega. Frog Omega. Right. Well, now that everyone's back, next up, if you'd like to join me for high-level dungeons, come on over to me. Writing down names. This discussion puts me in the mind of when Cider Spider makes his "What rig is this boss?" remarks. I have personally not actually watched Cider Spider much, so I wouldn't know that, but I could imagine that's pretty funny. Let me just set this so I don't forget it for leveling later. You can often intuit some mechanics based on skeletons, so it's worth looking out for. Absolutely. Like, for example, if you see anything with, the classic Cyclops model or skeleton, then you know. Then you know. And if you see any of those, hunched over forward dragon creature things, the ones that, do this and then it's a frontal cleave, then you know. This video isn't getting all achievements interesting. It is. I'm pretty sure that was what originally compelled me to make my video on the most time-consuming achievements in Final Fantasy XIV, was seeing that. But I didn't watch it. I saw the thumbnail. I was like, oh yeah. I've done that before. When I made the video on the fact that you cannot solo Final Fantasy XIV, it was because I saw the thumbnail to, the first episode of Wrath Games series. I didn't watch it. I thought, that's an interesting subject. And then I made a video. He also commented on the video. What do we get? We get Snowcloak. Okay, that one wasn't exactly what I expected, but sure. You remember, if you're leveling something, that the Azamas earrings and things like that will actually work because we're scaled down like this. I was just about to use Faded Circle and then I realized I don't have it. I even prepared my resources to be able to do it. And then I don't have it. Bap. Were the skeletons for the weapons in Shadowbringers new? Oh, I would think so. I would guess so. They didn't look like something identical to something that already existed, at least to me, but Diamond Weapon Beast form might be using Ifrit. I think that one is using Ifrit, yes. I just realized that I haven't had my tank stance all this time. Were you just dying and I didn't even notice? Sorry. Sorry, I was distracted by the fact that I'm noticing frame drops when just running around this dungeon. Yeah, I'll remember your tank stance. Yeah, when I do remember. PC frame drops or stream frame drops? PC frame drops. I talked a little bit about this at the start of the stream, but I'm on my backup PC because there's my main PC is not doing too well. It cannot hold OBS stable for 5 minutes, and Final Fantasy XIV crashes like it's getting paid to crash. So that wouldn't make for a very fun stream. And well, my backup as a weaker GPU. Yeah, very cool. But yeah, this one is perfectly fine. It's weaker than the main, but it is perfectly capable of doing everything it needs to do. And it's also, from what I've seen, way more stable than the monster machine that I also have that needs help. This one has never failed me. It's just slightly weaker. It is, however, nicknamed Chainsaw because it had problems with a fan for a long time. Sarah says, I forgot Cardia for the whole of a trial roulette yesterday. Well, I mean, it happens. There's also the hilarious revelation we had. Was it when we did Honeybee Lovely? Savage? Saturday? We noticed that Cardia had dropped off when we like reset the duty. And I had this revelation of, oh, that's why I need so much healing. Chainsaw's a sick name for a PC, and not gonna lie, this does sound pretty cool, doesn't it? It does, however, also, like, sort of herald the question of, why is it named that? Right? And there is a reason. It's a very loud fan. And yeah, I agree, Dave. It doesn't feel great to sit and overcap your resources. Even if you're sitting there like, it's okay, it is optimal. Doesn't change the fact that it doesn't feel optimal. No! Get back here immediately! I think I'm going to lose both of my combos. Ow. Yep, my solid barrel combo ended exactly when I used it. Like, perfectly on the dot. It's a classic. Oh, right. That's what the missile was. Womp, 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 womp. Oh man, don't you just love it when a boss has like this mechanic where it becomes unattackable for like 20 seconds? I'm sure that's like a relic of the past, and they wouldn't do that with like a modern boss. Like, this is Stormblood, right? They wouldn't do that. Like, I don't know, like, have like, and I'm just thinking out loud, I'm just spitballing here, like, have like a boss on like a motorbike, and then like, he marks like a part of the arena, and then he becomes untargetable while it does a spin. They wouldn't do that, right? Surely they wouldn't. Oh, I do that too, Dave. On Sage, I'm having trouble remembering to use Psych. And I'm having trouble remembering to actually use Eve Creation Dyscrasia. Like, one of them is because, like, it was just, like, dropped on me. And I suddenly have it. And the other one is, well, leveling, right? Also, I could imagine that, Nox. I've done something, it's not exactly the same, but it's very similar, right? You're a Viper. You use Reawaken. The pack dies before you reach Ouroboros. So you're just like sprinting in a panic to try and use it before you lose it. And almost a more tame one, but a lot more annoying one, is if you get interrupted in the middle of your Vice Winder combo. You do Vice Wind and then you do like, I don't know, Hunter's Coil, and then the pack dies. Hunter's Den, I guess it would be. You do Hunter's Den, and then the pack dies. And then it takes so long to reach the next fight that your combo ends. Which means that now you just have this dunce hat of an additional fiber of resources for the rest of the duty. Because for some reason they decided to make it so that Viper's combo finishes give 10. But the Vice Winder step 2 and 3 gives 5 each. So if you don't get to properly finish it, then you just have like an awkward 5 that doesn't like amount to anything. Because all other situations, you would generate them in sets of 10. Exactly, Moonrender. Just like that. And also, that's also true, Johnny. It's still... kind of sucks, I think. But I didn't actually realize that you don't even need to have to hit a target to get the sticker. So that is a good point. You could just like do AoE combo steps to collect your stickers. And if you're really smart about it, when you use perfect balance, you have 20 seconds to get your stickers. But you get a new fresh 20 seconds when you complete your sticker collection. Like, you just get a new 20 seconds when you reach the Masterful Blitz. So, like, if you are actually in this, oh no, my perfect balance situation, you could just, like, get your third sticker right as the buff is going to run out, and then you have 20 seconds to make it to the target. It's not that much better. It still kind of sucks to waste some part of your big cooldown, right? But hey, you can do something. Oh man, a boss where they become untargetable for like 20 seconds. Wow. I'm just kidding. That one is pretty cool. It's funny how that certainly makes it okay, right? And that's also true, Bad Angel. A big part of the reason why this kind of trick is more helpful is, like, if you can somehow carry that Masterful Blitz all the way to the door, it's not going to be like, well, I don't have my damage buff, so the Masterful Blitz kind of sucks. No, it does full damage. So that is a good tip, Johnny. A high five makes it look cool even if they never hit anyone anymore. Well, they do hit some people sometimes. I know that much. Sometimes. Oh. No! I feel like I should have been hit there. Weird. We could use Limit Break. Nice. Did you notice they put the wrong skill for Monk in the 7.05 patch notes? Yeah, I did. I looked at it and was like, what? And then I checked the job guide and saw that I believe the potencies were correctly adjusted over there. But it still looked really funny. And yeah, that one, Dave, is also part of the reason why I've always been a little bit apprehensive about actually maining a mage. Because it feels like, well, then the rest of your mage jobs just have to adhere to whatever the like your main is. All right, Rust. Thank you for coming. Dark Knight says, I think I cursed the red mage. You might have. Isn't that funny? No one gets hit by that mechanic anymore. Meanwhile, Helios. Well, I think you cursed them. Not only that, Fleet, but it means that just in general, you can avoid losing your state. It still just doesn't feel great, Dave. Like, it still doesn't feel great. The change to Umbral Soul makes it possible to type in chat on Black Mage. Yeah, that one. This one goes out to all the Black Mages just spinning in place when people decide to stop and, like, have a cup of tea and talk about something in the middle of a duty. Isn't the first time I've gotten hit. No worries, Kylan. It was just hilariously convenient timing. I don't remember if I've gotten hit by that mechanic, but I had a time years ago where I landed in the dungeon with, I think it was a story skipper, like level skip and story skip, Dark Knight, that didn't know what tank stance really meant. And they didn't speak English well. And the healer was okay, but not great. And both DPS were jobs without a res. We managed to get to the final boss, but we ended up having to vote abandon because every time that like line mechanic happened, the healer would die, and the Dark Knight wasn't able to survive without the healer. And then we would wipe. And it's just over and over and over again. Group 3 got Copperbell Mines hard. Oh, that's fun. Ah, that's annoying, Angel. That just sucks. Right. I'll do this. And I think everyone's back. There's so many people here. If you'd like to join me for leveling roulette, come on over to me. I feel I do usually also say like remind this. I'm not trying to pick around anyone. I'm trying to bring everyone. I have like a list. I'm like, all right, I did a duty with that and then that person, so that I don't like bring the same person like 3 times. Meanwhile, there's someone else like, all right, I just hung out here. That's a big leveling roulette group. Yeah, if only I could bring everyone. We just come into, like, Sastasha, and it's just, like, 12 people, like, alright. Hope you're ready for the smackdown of a century. I think we have enough people for Group 3 as well. Still, rather. I think Kylan is making Group 3. That's Helios over there. Imagine you could bring oversized party. Let me stop you there, Ham. Imagine if you could bring oversized parties, period. That would be really funny. Bitfox says Alliance raids us. That would also be funny. Let's see, we have a level 90. Then I am guessing that we get... My money's on Vanospati. $200 people versus Thunder God Sid. Under the armor. I know it was like a 1 in 4, 1 in 5, but I'm just saying. Nailed it. And you know what? I've, like, in the past, like, I think, weeks. Every time we've done leveling, we've had a level 90 in the group. And it has been, if we've had a level 90, it has pretty much always been Caetsu's Hyperborea or Ichioscope. So I think this was a really good guess. I'm like, they wouldn't do that one more time. Surely not. You got Ifrit normal? Well, I guess you win this race. Whoops. Imagine actually using a defensive cooldown when your short one runs out. Lightning shot. Lightning bolt. Lightning bolt. Lightning bolt. Oh man, this is a long run. Wait, what's it doing over there? Why? Why? What was that? Why? I'm just gonna cast my thing from 30 miles away, it's fine. No worries. And he's dead. Oh. A true warrior game. Yeah, that is actually true, Nox. There is a surprising amount of warriors that work it like that. They just go, I'm sure I don't need anything else but bloodwetting. People say it's really good, right? They use bloodwetting on cooldown. They might be good at that. But they don't use anything else. What do you mean vengeance is a DPS gain? I don't care. I don't need it. I'll go over with you. There's a safe spot behind me. I was like, well, we have melee DPS, right? How did the tank die? Why is the healer not doing that? Wait a minute, I'm the healer. Yep. I think I've done that one. In Dawntrail at least once. There's something wrong here. Wait a minute. I think I've deduced it. I'm what's wrong here. I could probably had snuck in a burst strike there. Yeah.
What is this vile presence I sense?
Maybe it is I who is the bad healer. No, it must be the rest of the party who is wrong.
Be on your guard.
I have certainly had that feeling. Especially when doing... Actually, Vanguard. Specifically Vanguard. There are a few pulls there that are... Oh, right. There's only one pack here, right? Just a dumb one with only one pack. There's a few packs in Vanguard that are really, really rough. I should probably just done Faded Circle there. Pretty sure that's stronger. The Heart of Corundum is really nice. It's one of those where because it'll heal you later, it feels like most of the time clicking it is always good. Holy Children is a little bit like that because it's healing over time. All these people are turning. Me, waiting to fight. Hey! Finally! Yeah, this dungeon has a lot of weird pulls. I will also say this is also a case of a dungeon that is surprisingly rough. A lot of players have noticed. Warrior the second they get Ronsuation. It's almost like half of the warriors like just turn into Galaxy Brain and then like never a single problem ever again. Like it's just now easy mode. And then the other half just goes, I don't need any other cooldown, I guess. And then just like dare to be stupid, right? Alright, Kylan, enjoy your evening. Short cooldown for Dark Knight is CVN, right? Yes. Imagine if you wanted to make sure the boss turns nicely for your melee DPS. But the boss said, no, Lamau. Yep. it is a little silly that TBN is level 70. But, just saying, Heart of Stone is the Gunbreaker equivalent of TBN, which is level 68. The only reason why Gunbreakers don't, like, feel nearly as much pain from that is because they also have Camouflage, and they also have Aurora, and they, like, those are just really, like, universally decently good, and can make up for that empty space. Whereas, arguably, Dark Mind can't. Yeah, also that Dark Nile. The thing is, the first time I think you have to interact with this kind of gimmick where it takes 30 years for the thing to do a thing. In Dawntrail days is here pretty much as like MSQ stuff. But before that, back before they reworked ARF, there was a similar thing there. It's just that instead of just taking a ton of damage because you didn't do it right, you take a ton of damage, get every debuff under the sun, and you also probably die momentarily after that. So at least this is a nicer introduction to that. Dark Mind is good for, I don't know, the first two pulls and bottoms. It's actually really sad. If you learned Dark Mind 5 levels earlier, it would have been amazingly good for the first few pulls in Stone Vigil. But you don't, you actually learn it exactly 1 level after Stone Vigil, if I remember correctly. Camouflage reduces damage taken by 10% and then also gives you an additive 50% increase to your parry chance, which, like, all things considered, combines for, I think, after considering that you have, like, some amount of parry chance by default, like, when you take that into account, it still, like, adds up to about 16 or 17% damage reduction. For physical damage. 10% for magic damage, because you cannot parry magic damage. It's Bulwark, but worse, is a good way of putting it, because you can block everything. Except it's only worse situationally, because you cannot block, you cannot block the snapshot of the damage of a dot. So Camouflage would reduce the damage of the dot that follows by 10%, whereas Bulwark would reduce the immediate hit by 20% and then nothing for the dot. Oh, whoops. The snapshot is a little later than I thought it would be. Oopsie whoopsie. No one saw that. Glad to hear that, Dave. Uh-oh. We have a dead healer. We have a dead healer. Never mind, the boss is dead first before we needed our rest. Oof. We didn't need that guy. It is a little bit weird, Bitsfox, but I kind of get it. If you parry the attack, it also doesn't change anything. It is weird. Because any explanation that that I could come up with for why that is fair is also a reasonably good argument for why it isn't fair. You'd be like, well, you blocked the initial hit, you'd have to roll blocks separately for each dot tick, right? And you can't do that. Why not? Well, you can't block an attack that is actually because you're already burning, right? Well, I blocked the fire that burned me, so surely that should reduce the damage of the burn entirely, right? Like, it works both ways. They've just decided to not do that. It's okay, Ham. These things happen. Right. Next up is main scenario quest. Wait, I think we... Do we still have a group in there? The real question is why parry for Gunbreakers? That is an excellent question. Why did they remove parry interaction from Dark Knights only to give Gunbreakers it 2 expansions later? Weird. Right. If you'd like to join me for MSQ Roulette, come on over to me. I'm sure it'll be fun. Where was this house again? It is on Louisoix Chaos EU. Plot 36, Ward 29. So Dark Knights should be hit. So Dark Knights can parry. All jobs can parry, in fact. I'm pretty sure it's just a flat 10% chance for everyone. But in Heaven's Ward, I believe Dark Knights... So Dark Knights had... Just like they had Dark Mind, which reduces magic damage taken, they had an ability, I believe it was called Shadow Dance or something like that, which increased, I think it was dodge chance or parry chance, and then if you used Dark Arts, which was like their main gimmick, they could empower their abilities with Dark Arts, it would like become the even better, like, I guess upgrade from parrying to dodging. Or something like that. But they removed that in Stormblood. They also removed Reprisal was in Stormblood, like from in Heaven's Ward, Reprisal was an attack that required that the Dark Knight, because it was a Dark Knight attack, had recently parried. It did a little bit of damage and then reduced the damage done by the target for a few seconds. Then in Stormblood, they made Reprisal a roll action, and then I can't remember if it was Shadowbringers or it was like early Endwalker or something, but eventually they made Reprisal an AoE. .1 made it AoE. Thank you. So, like, early-ish Shadowbringers. At the risk of that's the joke, please know that Greatsword block in Monster Hunter is kind of lower power than it should be and costs weapon sharpness. I can't remember how much lower it is than like the big shields, but at least in Rise, you can choose a... I think it's called a Rampage decoration that makes it so that your Greatsword instead gains durability from blocking instead. But you wouldn't choose that. You just choose something that made you do like 10% more damage instead. Doesn't wearing a shield increase your block chance? In Final Fantasy XIV, you have a 0% chance to block without a shield. So it doesn't just increase it, it enables it. It is the source of your block chance. There is no other thing in the game that increases or gives you a block chance other than wearing a shield. The block rate stat on your shield determines how often you block, and the block strength determines how hard you block. But in Dawntrail days, and for years before that, they decided that all shields are created equal. So there's those two values are almost always precisely the same. Greatsword blocks also inherently has the guard up skill, while lance block doesn't. Oh, that is interesting. That is something that I did not know. So you can block laser beams with it. And that is correct, Solization. I believe... Like, I'm not sure what your block rate or even your block strength is as a mage with a shield, but it is better than not wearing a shield. And I believe the power difference in Boja between wearing a wand and wearing a staff is, like, estimated to be, like, 0.1% less damage if you're using a wand. Like, even if it, like, as long as your blocks are, like, 10% or something, then you're reducing the damage you're taking by way more than you're reducing your damage output by. Lance has the strongest block, but Izakusa, guard up doesn't actually increase your block like your block power. Guard up is what enables you in Monster Hunter to block things that are normally not blockable, like a laser beam. So if Greatsword comes with that out of the box, it just means that you don't need that skill. But, like, I mean, you would still block worse than a lance, it's just that if the lance doesn't have guard up, then your Greatsword can block a laser beam, but the shield can't for some reason. I never tested this, so that's why I'm like kind of taking their word for it on this. I haven't, like, the thing is, when I have played Greatsword, I don't usually block things. And that's coming from someone who's a Gunlance main, who always brings both evade extender and guard up, because I like defensive skills way better than I like offensive skills. Doesn't power guard on lands give guard up? It might. But yeah, my point is that I'm pretty sure that most Greatsword mains would only block as a last resort. Like, if they realize I can't dodge this, then they might in a panic just go, "Protect me, sword!" And then they die anyway. Because they went all damage skills or something. Monster Hunter Rise stream when? Probably not anytime soon, but I have also not played Rise in a while. Case in point, because I'm not super confident about playing a game like Monster Hunter Rise that saves very regularly with a PC, the other PC, who seems to be extremely unstable and just could crash at any moment. And I believe if your game crashes in the middle of a save in Monster Hunter Rise, you might not have a save anymore. Possibility. I don't know if that's certain, but that has had a direct impact on my not playing Rise. I still have a playthrough to finish with Aradil. The problem is with Greatsword block is that it chunks your sharpness. Yeah, pretty much. That's the reason why I'm like my counter argument to that was pretty much just, well, there is a decoration that, like a rampage decoration. You get one of those per weapon that makes it so that you don't lose sharpness. I think it actually makes it so that you generate sharpness instead. Can you beat Monster Hunter before your PC bricks your save? Now that's a challenge mode if I ever saw one. I'm sure they did, Bitsfox. It's just, like, it's basically been a case of whenever my monster PC has started to act strange, I've started to, like, feel less inclined to play any game that might suffer from that. And yet, yes, Final Fantasy XIV isn't exactly a game that would benefit from an unstable PC, but if your game crashes in Final Fantasy XIV, you can just log in again, and you will have lost nothing. So, like, that change, like, that matters a lot in that decision. But that's also another thing. Also want to stream Stranger of Paradise one day. And that is actually a game that, like, is completely unplayable on a PC that isn't stable. It'll crash immediately. Hey. So if you want to test if your PC is stable, you start Stranger of Paradise? No. I wouldn't test it with that. I guess I may be exaggerating when I said it would crash immediately, but I can say that if you've seen Stranger of Paradise, if your PC is not doing well, then there's a reasonable chance that within the first 10 times you do one of those, like, brutal finishers, where, like, you, like, crystallize the enemy and then smash them into somewhere. Within the first 10 times, your game will crash in the attempt to render that. I don't know if I got every single achievement in Stranger of Paradise, but I have played through, like, the regular story like half a dozen times. My favorite way to play through it is hard difficulty with no NPC companions. Which means that you have to block and parry a lot. I mean, yeah, that is an interesting point. I hadn't actually considered that beforehand, but that is a good point. If you have a PC and you're, like, suspicious that, was that a random crash, or is my PC just really, like, unstable? Maybe put on, like, a game or a program that you know it'll crash. Like, this game doesn't take a maybe. Like, it has to be crisp or it'll crash. Like, that's a great idea. sometimes the lack of NPCs can make things easier because you know which attacks are coming for you. With NPCs, they can randomize and make it harder sometimes. Or to time. That's true, Dave. If you're trying to block or parry, like if you're playing Knight, that job sucks way more if you're with companions. However, and this is like super nerd details in Stranger of Paradise, enemies will not will actually hold back if you can't see them. Like, they will, like, it's not 100% certain, but they actually try to give you a chance. They don't just sucker punch you. They will wait their turn. So, by not having NPCs for them to attack instead, there's a smaller chance that an enemy will wind up an attack that incidentally also hits you when it's trying to kill your companion, where they'll almost wait their turn if you're alone. They don't outright stand still. They'll like shuffle around, but if you're not looking at them, they're much less likely to strike. It's more likely that someone else will strike. Like, you can't, like, there's also the part that if you face away from them, they'll not just stop attacking. They will finish their attack if they started one. But they don't really, like, backstab you much. And yeah, I realized this by playing the game a lot. It's funny because when you're playing through the game for the first, second, or third time, you might not notice this, and it just feels like you're really good and no one got you. But eventually, when you've played it enough, you start to notice that, wait a minute. It's a little bit like how like XCOM, if you don't set it to the setting, like to the difficulty where they don't cheat for you, they actually like weigh the dice a little bit in your favor because for some reason that feels more fair to a human. Or how in Doom, the last bit of your HP bar is actually like over 50% of your HP bar. Or how in BioShock, enemies will always miss their first shot at you. So they don't, like, just snipe you from off screen. Like, all of these things are like, that's fair. Like, that makes the game feel more fun to the player. But if you assume that all of the enemies are good and they're not cheating in your favor, then you feel like you're even better until you realize that you're not. But usually you don't realize this until you're better. Aerodel says the Limsa test. That's also a good one. That's a good one. The first time my monster PC had problems, one of the ways that I tested it was actually like, I was just like writing manuscripts, and you might remember for a while back that I would frequently just sit near the tree in Limsa. There were times where, like, sometimes I would sit there because then it was easy to find. Some people would like to meet me in game. Sometimes I would sit there just to see whether the game would crash. Like, I actually did that. Catdemon says, I've never seen a 95% VAT shot miss in Fallout 4. That's the kind of thing. That's the kind of thing, yeah. And the observations I've made in XCOM 95% misses about 60% of the time is the same way. The reason why players or humans think that a fair dice is unfair is because you could land 195, or actually you could land 95 hits in a row with a 95% hit chance and then miss 5 times in a row. You don't remember that you hit it 95 times, but you absolutely remember when you missed 5 times in a row. Even though both results are fair, it's possible. You could even hit 10 times in a row and then miss the 11th time and be like, well, this is not fair. Exactly, the human negativity bias. Also because, like, exactly, you remember the bad ones. The bad ones were when the game was cheating you, and the good ones was skill. And yeah, exactly, Dave. That's exactly the kind of way that Doom also works. The newer Doom games is that they show you like a health bar, but if you actually got like the exact numbers, like the last 10 or 20% of it is actually way more than that. Will Whedon's dice curse shows how unfair dice can be. Yeah. Exactly, Isaac. So that is an excellent example. Back when I played FFXIV, I remember one of my units having a 99% crit chance. I only remember the times where I lost the match because she didn't crit. Exactly. That's also the reason why there's this joke in Pokemon that Fire Blast and Hydro Pump and attacks like that never land. Because, like, I believe they tend to have like an 85 or 90% hit rate. Something like that. It kind of depends on the game. I think Hydro Pump has an 80% hit chance in most of the games. Or at least the older games. But even though it has an 80% hit chance, which means that out of the 5 PP you get, one of them should miss. Like, on average, one should miss. It should. It's only fair. What you'll remember is that you missed. You don't remember the ones that hit. You don't remember the times where you hit 5 times in a row. You just remember that you missed twice that one time. Even though that's a reasonably likely result if it's a 1 in 5, right? Oh yeah, Hasty Touch is a good one as well. Do you, like, it's been a while since I leveled my crafters from the bottom. Do you still use Hasty Touch much when leveling crafters from the bottom, like from really low level? Or is that not really a thing anymore? Still have trauma from missing 7 stone edges in a row. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Say Darth. Did the stream have a hiccup for anyone else? Okay. I don't know why that's happening. It could be YouTube. It could be my PC. Says the meme about the 120 power moves is more that they're not competitively viable because of the mischance. That's less of a thing now, though, I gather from the tour. Oh, no, that's always been a thing. The thing is, in competitive Pokemon, maybe not in doubles, I only know, like, I know singles a lot better in Pokemon. But in singles, what you're looking at is, do you want 95 power but a guarantee to hit? Or would you like, for example, 120 power but a chance to miss? The reason why you then choose the bigger power move is because the bigger power move could give you more reach. Meaning, for example, the 95 power move will not kill X counter, whereas the 120 move will. But something that has also changed in Pokemon over the years is that I believe they changed the 120 power moves to 110 power and then changed their hit rate to 90% instead of 85. So there's like a little bit of a jump there. But yeah, in competitive, certain matchups, as Solicization says, you might need that extra power. So it doesn't matter that it can miss, because the weaker move hitting isn't good enough. Even if you could hit it twice, it's not good enough. You need the stronger move to hit once. Otherwise, don't care. Oh yeah, I guess you're right, Darth. I thought they actually moved them to 90%. But yeah, basically, the argument you make is it's better to have the stronger power and then just accept that you'll miss. The fact that it's 85% also means that if you have full, like, max PP on it, then you get 8 Fire Blasts. With an 85% hit rate, you're going to miss 1 or 2 of them on average. And, like, imagine it like, you know, like, it's like a loaded gun, but you have two duds. Maybe you won't get the duds. Like, maybe you just don't get the duds. And then you basically just got free power. That's like this, like the selling point of grabbing the stronger move. As says Thunder 70%. Oh no, you don't. That's the reason why you don't choose Thunder unless you're on a Rain team, because Rain makes Thunder guaranteed to land. That's also why you pretty much always see Thunder on any moveset for Kyogre. Oh, it always lands when it's raining. Well, good thing that my entry onto the battlefield means that it is raining. Yeah, Hurricane too.
Nor is this unknown to your masters, which prompts the question, why do they cling to these...
Visualization says, and the one you miss will always cause you to lose, guaranteed. Well, the trick here is that the one that misses, you can probably trace back to blame for you missing. But that's a little bit unfair, right? If you don't count, well, that Fire Blast caused me to kill a Pokemon that shouldn't have otherwise happened if I used Flamethrower instead. And then you don't count, well, that Fire Blast that missed, if I'd used Flamethrower instead, it wouldn't have changed anything, so, you know.
And when the dust of battle settles, it is ever the strong who dictate.
But the key difference is, if you don't play competitive Pokemon, then you will never have any reason to use Fire Blast over Flamethrower, because when you're playing, like, casual, having more PP is better, because you're just going to one-shot that Elite Four member anyway. Like, you get more Flamethrowers, so it's just better. And it always hits, it's just better. Like, it led to a point where, like, if I was leveling, like, my Pokemon in, I think, like, Pokemon Diamond, I would use, like, Pokemon that, I would use Pokemon that specifically were tooled with guaranteed to hit moves to level the big beaters with, you know, a selection of 5 PP inaccurate moves and things like that. There's also the argument that sometimes there's like, oh yeah, this Pokemon, oh, you could teach it Stone Edge. A really good rock move. Okay, can I choose something that is a little bit more accurate? Nope. It's Stone Edge or nothing. What would you like? Guess I take Stone Edge then. Yeah, Stone Miss or Focus. Unfocused Blast. That's also a good one. If I remember, like, I didn't really watch it that closely, but I think there was a time where Ash had a Pokemon with Focus Blast, but it was a running problem that Pokemon couldn't use Focus Blast. It's like he would try to use it when it was convenient, but it was just never work. Like, it wouldn't manage to actually fire. It's scraggy. Which, in a way, almost indirectly references the fact that Focus Blast just never lands. I have certainly seen, like, builds, like Pokemon builds, where it's like, oh yeah, you can choose between Hidden Power Fighting or Focus Blast. You know it's dire when they're going, you could use Hidden Power, which is 70, or Focus Blast, which is like 120 or 110 or something. But, you know, it never lands, so why would you? Hidden Power 60. I'm pretty sure it was 40 to 70, and then they changed it to be a flat 60. The reason being that it, like, originally its power was, its type and power depended on your IVs. But yeah, nowadays it has been nerfed to the point of it doesn't exist. I read the other day that Hidden Power exists in Legends Arceus, but only for Unknown. And for Unknown, it's always a guaranteed super effective. Right. You got me. I just remembered that I'm dead. Legends Arceus has a lot of weird mechanics compared to the rest of the games. Do they? I think I remember there's something about it. Not even that Pokemon don't even have abilities in Legends Arceus. But yeah, that is a cool way of doing Hidden Power. But imagine for a second if you could have a 60 power move that was always super effective. Depending on who you give it to, it could be kind of meh, or it could be completely broken. I would say you give it to any Pokemon with Technician. If it has any way of interacting with same type attack bonus, it's broken. Pain hailed Corn, hope you're doing well. Oh yeah, I do remember that realization. We removed all abilities from Pokemon in Legends Arceus. However, some Pokemon just have special signature effects that they just get anyway. For example, Regigigas still sucks. We made sure to not miss that one. Right. Next up is Frontline. We can have multiple groups of that. I think we have another group who's still in. Is that right? I can't see. Group 2 is returned. Did we have a group 3? I'm guessing no, then? Yes, no, maybe? Well, if we didn't, then I will instead just say, if you'd like to join me for Frontline, come on over to me. We can plan our, like, match our watches and make sure that we land in the same match. Valen says cross data center isn't a thing, right? As an NA player, can't join, right? As an NA player, no. The way that cross data center travel works right now is everyone can visit OCE, that is Materia. But aside from that, you can only travel in your region. So NA to NA, EU to EU, JP to JP. With uniquely, everyone can travel to Materia. And I can say EU has a terrible connection to OCE. And also at this time, Frontline is just not going to pop over on Materia, I'm pretty sure. Yep. Gazel! 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 Oh. EU has a decent connection on NA. I could imagine that. From what I've tested, I'm pretty sure that I would be fine over on NA. It wouldn't be perfect, but it would be doable. Similarly, I'm pretty sure NA would be fine here. But I'm also pretty sure NA is, like, some NA players are actually pretty good over on OCE. But I can assure you that EU players from EU, like, it would suck to do PvP. If you think that PvP feels a little janky and slow, try do it on a huge latency. Uh-oh. It looks like your internet isn't having a good day, Gazel. If you're curious, there are like sites to find the IP addresses of the various data centers, and you can just find one, open your command prompt, and ping them. You see your connection from that. That's all you need. New Sunday stream Kai plays Pokemon. That would be really random. And also almost scary. You know how YouTube channels that dabble in Pokemon just turn into Pokemon channels. It might happen like an infection. You see it start with Sunday streams, and then suddenly, we're not doing Savage anymore. And then, oops, half my videos each week is something on Pokemon. You could become a Minecraft YouTuber. Oh. Pokemon mental roulette video win. Well, I have actually, there was this one time. Actually, I think I did it twice. In the Endwalker mental roulettes is when I got Praetorium. I would just start talking about, like, the idea of designing a job as a Pokemon. Like, what type would it have? What stat, like, what kind of stat line would it have? What moves would it have? Savage farm stream? Ranked battle grind instead. Maybe that's what Small Kai is doing, just going around Johto. That would be pretty funny. Mental roulette, but it switches to Monster Hunter partway in and no one notices. That would be pretty funny. Just make my videos as normal, but like halfway through the video, it just like there's just like a record scratch and then like a frame skip, and then it's something else. Right then, do we have the people that wanted to do PvP here then? How many are we? Do we have 2 groups? How big is group 2? Mental roulette, but the guild test gameplay gets switched to a different random game. That would be awesome. Like, imagine that I actually got like 30 guild tests in a row. And then at the 30th one, I'm just like, screw this, we're doing something else. And then the gameplay just cuts to me playing something else. can't be bothered. I'm just gonna play something else. And then I just play something else. Just smash cuts to, so for hunt 1, we hunt a so-and-so. Get under the armor and then it switches to armored core. That's also a fun game. I haven't completed. Still the mental roulette voiceover, but monster. Yeah, exactly. Just for instead of for duty 1, it's just like for hunt 1, blah 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 blah. Stuff happened. And then instead of me just doing random hunts, I specifically used like the tool to assist, like join and assist people. And I just get something random. Yeah, exactly, just completely straight, like I act like nothing's wrong. I'm just playing a different game. No, I'll do a ready check. Group 2 also do a ready check. Start with I get 10 Rathalos Extreme in a row, and then the 11th one is me straight up just fighting Rathalos in Monster Hunter. Like, you know what? If we're going to fight this, we might as well play the real thing, right? All right, Group 2's ready. I will queue us when it says 11:20. Wow, this event is just like the real game. This Rathalos is way more intricate. That's amazing. I won't loot the jewel anyway. But that is actually a really good April Fool's idea. To just have like, oh whoops, just have the gameplay like from some sort of logical explanation, suddenly it just cuts. But so far, I've been focusing more on learning how to avoid guild hests rather than learning how to get them. Man, the samurai rework is wild! There's an MMO mod that combines the first 5 generations of Pokemon. That is interesting, but I am quite the kind of guy that just enjoys the competitive section. I had a lot of fun playing through... Oh, Group 2 is landing in a different match. Oh. I had a lot of fun playing through Radical Red, which is like... It's a difficult Pokemon mod that specifically emphasizes like competitive stuff. More exactly, not only does it emphasize competitive stuff, it does it in such a way where they give you the tools to have a competitive team reasonably early. They make it reasonably easy to get, like, EV train your Pokemon and get them the right nature and all that. So that you can actually have those competitive battles with gym leaders and stuff that actually play decently well. Sometimes they might look like they're cheating a bit, but the thing is, they're not cheating. It's just that it also makes logical sense for them to predict your moves sometimes. And it looks like cheating when it's a computer that does it. Yeah, exactly, Civilization. The thing that I don't like super much about playing through a Pokemon game is that many of the really awesome Pokemon don't get anything actually awesome. You don't get to make a cool moveset until, like, the post-game. So, like, why? What? Oh, I got 2 knockouts. Huh. I just now realized that my strategy of just kill things is meaning that we're losing on the left. Yeah, I do remember that, how about that the AI in Pokemon games are... Whoa. This is absolutely absurd. Are they actually serious? That was ridiculous. What was that? Red just like, we can probably just gank yellow. Now blue is ganking us from behind. They really hate us in particular, huh? Oh, no, you don't. We're really getting dunked on in particular, huh? Not that much we can do. Feels like the points have been like pretty regularly out of our reach, and whenever we try to reach for something, both of the other teams go no, smack us back down. What did we do to you? Like, did Red get that offended that we didn't engage them first? I think they did. Did you notice that your friends left, buddy? Ta-da! Somehow I lived. That was actually amazing. If the red players had kept chasing me for just a little longer, they would have gotten me. I didn't have anything else. I had like 8 seconds until I maybe could use Mei Sui again. But that was it. Like, I was done. They just needed to keep it up for a little longer. And then they decided, nah, someone else will do it. Couldn't do anything there. I can only heal my party members. Case in point, Monica, you should probably run. the situation changed as you ran. It wasn't me going, well, I want the kill. There's too many. There's way too many there. I don't think we can win that exchange. We're kind of all over the place. I'm saying crowds of stuff. Hope you're doing well. Oh boy. Blue's chasing us. Can we somehow peel from them? Or are all those players just dead? I think red is going to come for us from behind again. We've seen they have this tendency to think that's funny. So they probably will. I think they have at least one Dark Knight shot calling on blue team. Because that was amazingly well timed. And red is coming from behind, of course. Wow, what a limit break. What is the point of using Mei Shui? Mei Shui is used to spend the Suiton you will inevitably get from using Tenchi Jin on a single target. Because your best 3-step jutsu for single target is Suiton. But that's weaker than Raiton. In PvP, however, Mei Sui is a heal, with a heal over time component as well. That you can use on other players. We have to just run to our team. Our team is over there, so we go over there. We can't win an exchange with the entire blue team. We can't win one with the entire red team either. But there's a better chance that we can do it if we're not alone. Ah! That's a hopeful one there. Didn't work. Don't you use that Suiton to use Kunai's Bane? No, you actually cast Suiton properly. Because the only way... You would rather put down something like Doton with that. On AoE. And on single target, you would use Suiton normally. So that you have Kunai's Bane already active when you start Tenchi Jin. Like, Tenchi Jin itself is worth over 1,000 potency. You would want Kunai's Bane for that. Like, already running. You don't want it to come out afterwards. You basically use Tenchi Jin in the middle of your burst. Not at the end, like, not at the start of it. Because Tenchi Jin is a strong attack. On AoE, there could be an argument of using Huton to, like, then be able to use Kunai's Bane from there. But if you use Huton with Tenchi Jin, then you're not using Katon. That means that the only way you can actually do that is if you instead use either Hyoton or Raiton on AoE, which, like, one is bad and one is garbage. Like, on AoE, you don't want that. Someone in the chat said focus on blue now. My suggestion would actually be we should focus on just getting points. It's actually red who's making a mistake here and letting blue win. We are not making a mistake by taking the easiest points right in front of our faces. That is, like, we're fighting for second place. We don't care about first place. That was amazingly long. Yeah, basically, Nox, Tenjijin is at burst cooldown, and you want Tenjijin to be in Trick Attack, because Trick Attack makes your burst better. Hey, Coco. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, that's an unfortunate reality. If you have a lot of battle high, you can reach a point where like 4 or 5 players are willing to spend an eternity chasing you for the chance of killing you, because it'll be worth it for the pain it causes you. And see, if you look at the scoreboard now, that's the reason why there was no point in us switching to blue. If we switch to blue, then red just starts winning. We only care about second place, because we can't even see first place from here. What strange alliance raid is this? This is PvP. This is Frontline. Sure was a good thing we didn't switch to blue, huh? Can't say. Sure, why not? So do you start with Rikomori's Suiton Weave Kunai? No. No. Not quite. As you will see in all of my ninja guides, including the ones that are like coming soon when I've like released that, but also my Endwalker ones, if you just ignore the part where you set Huton up, the way you start any single target ninja opener is doing this. And here's where it starts to get confusing, because some openers do one thing, others do a different thing. And I am making some mistakes here. But a lot of mistakes. But when I used Aeolin Edge was actually where I should have used Tenchi Jin. But I think I forgot to finish my combo sooner. But you always start with bam, 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 wait 5. And you go, boom, start. And the reason why you do that is because your ninjutsu timer, like the cooldown, is ticking when you start it. Like when you actually start the move. So it means that by waiting those 5, you enter combat with 1 charge left and like 15 seconds timer on the second one. You of course don't have to do that in more casual content, and if there's no pull time it can be hard to do it. But ultimately, you start by preemptively making Suiton. And then you do Suiton, and then you like do a few GZDs, you do Dokonbori, like Bunshin, Phantom Kamaitachi, and then you do Kunai's Bane. You don't just go blep on all of your cooldowns immediately. Like there's a little bit of a build-up, right? One way you can think about it is both that Ninja has a few GZDs it wants to set up. Notably, it would like to use Armor Crush once. Before it gets too into it. Because it make Aeolin Edge better. Although at high level, Aeolin Edge is no longer part of your opener. Like, not really. When do you do pre-pull Doton? I don't think you ever do pre-pull Doton. But speaking of pre-pull Doton, something really funny you can do is this. It works, by the way. It's doing damage. Which also means you can also use this trick if you, like, want to do Tenchi Jin. You do it like this. You go blam, blam, blam. Whoop! By the way, ding sounds. Yeah, back in the day, you would pre-pull Doton because Doton, first of all, had a 24-second duration, and second of all, didn't get removed by using Hide, which meant that you could put down, like, you did Futon, then you put down Doton, then you did Hide, so that you had your speed buff, and you had Doton down, and then you did Suiton ready, and then when the tank pulled, if you could convince them to, like, pull the boss a little extra back so they ran into your Doton, maybe you'd get a tick or two. Maybe you'd get, like, 150 potency out of that. But that's extremely annoying for everyone else involved, isn't it? It means that the ninja's maximum DPS is heavily reliant on whether the tank plays ball with them on doing these kinds of shenanigans. But yeah, in Endwalker, they changed Doton, so like they adjusted its damage profile so that it ticks a total of 6 times plus the initial hit when you place it, which means its duration is 18 seconds. And then just to be sure you don't try anything, they also made it so Hide removes Doton. And if Doton, like basically even put it like this, the reason why they did both things is because if they had just made Doton's duration 18 seconds, then you could still put it down. There could be a chance that the tank could get it in for 1 tick in time. And if they just made the Hide interaction remove it, and it stayed at 24 seconds, then you could do Futon, Hide, Doton, and then just make sure, like, you started so that, like, there's, like, 3 or 4 seconds left on your dots on when the fight starts. And then maybe if your tank is really nice, they'll do a thing. Both of them kind of suck, right? Wasn't there a thing where you set up a Suiton, then used high to reset your Mudra charges? No, you didn't set up Suiton, Nox. You set up this. It used to be a 1-minute buff you got from Futon. So you would set up Futon high to get your stacks back. That is actually present in all of my ninja guides. Pretty much all of them start any opener with what's it? Jin Chi 10 Futon hide 10 Chi Jin. Wait up to 5 seconds. Suiton Caetsu spinning edge. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, weird pre-pulls can get quite crazy. Just remember to do your dot on buff. Right. With that said, back to Gunbreaker. And what did we get? We got a trait, right? Oh yeah, enhanced rampart and damage. Do I remember wrong? Isn't Solid Barrel like 300 potency initially? Like it does. What isn't Solid Barrel at level 26 like 300 potency? 320. You can see it delivers a potency of 240. They've added 140 to a Solid Barrel, so at level 26, Solid Barrel does 320. At level 94, Keen Edge does 300. Right, if you would like to join me for Trials Roulette, come on over to me. I'll also just do this real quick. How many are we? I'm trying to grab the ones I haven't had in my party all evening. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have too many. What do we do then? Oh, what do we do then? What do we do then? What do we do then? Yep. This time in particular, I can see that it's important that I don't just go, well, it'll be the same 7 this time, right? When we come out. A6, hope you're doing well. That's a random note, Guzzle. That is true. Why did you mention that? Oh my. This one is actually... Black Mage got a huge quality of life on this boss in particular.
It's going to be a long...
With Umbral Soul. Coco says, I just noticed she has bunny ears. That's correct. I'm guessing it's the rabbit in the moon, or what is it? What is it? Reference. Oh, starts in the middle. Is it? Mine. Because you mentioned the 300 potency on the first step. Yeah. I was comparing Gunbreaker to Gunbreaker. Like, Gunbreaker's third step at level 26 is 320 potency. Their first step at level 94 is 300. Like, yes, important detail that in comparison to a normal, like to a DPS job or a healer job, tanks just flatly do 20% less damage. That's true. But it's still quite funny that it gets that strong.
Your death will be all the sweeter.
Oh man, I sure hope the Black Mage have used Umbral Soul. Did you make sure to use Umbral Soul? It's fine. It's not exactly a massive damage loss, and it's also normal. By the way, in that case, it might be nice to know that you also get smackdowned when Xenos arrives. She'll always do the mechanics right, so why do I see her getting hit randomly? I'm pretty sure that she doesn't always get them right, but she is probably the best quote-unquote player among the Scions. Right, so the Umbral Soul thing. It's not as long, but if you had been in Astral Fire, that could have been actually, it's almost as long. Oink. Yeah, true, Gleaming. Well, the thing is, I don't think Warrior can solo it synced. But they can unsynced, if you're really good. I think any tank can. Hey, Emily. Hope you're doing well.
In darkness bleeds the spider lily. From mortal heights, I rise anew. Suffused with night, I shall prevail.
Suffused with night, I shall prevail. Monica queued up themselves and got Garuda Heart. Wow.
Beg them.
Mechanics might stop you from soloing it, would it not? Specifically, the only mechanic on Extreme that would cause problems for a job, like for specifically a DPS, or no, for a tank, to solo this fight on Extreme, is the Moonfloor mechanic, because you need, you know, players to like make the safety zones. But if you use your dash perfectly, you can actually do the mechanic correctly alone. So you can. Is it easy? No. But you can.
No. Not yet.
Jens is my leveling roulette and trial roulette. Yesterday were both Ifrit. That's a little funny.
I'll grind you under my heel.
Ah, we meet again, Ifrit. Ow. 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 Emily says the only thing I remember about the moon floor mechanic is that it killed me. Yeah, the way that it works on both difficulties is that it gives you stacks, and if you reach a certain number of stacks, you get a doom debuff, and then moments later you die. I believe on extreme you basically die instantly, but it turns out, I've caught this in one of my mentor roulettes, that if you do manage to change your debuff before the doom ticks out, it'll disappear. So you actually have like 5 seconds to fix it if you goof it up. But the thing that makes it really hard on extreme is when the mechanic starts, like when it initially is activated, she puts like 3 or 4 stacks of the debuff associated with the floor you're already standing on you, just bam, which means you die extremely quickly if you don't move immediately. That's one. The second one is that at some point in the extreme version, she will call down meteors, and normally they target 1 tank, 1 healer, and 1 DPS. And you basically have to place them in a certain way so that the meteors generate both colors of floor so that you have a place to be, so you don't just die. But if you're one player, you can see how that would be a problem. But there is a way with dashing so that you can make it so that you can place 2 meteors correctly, or something like that. It's also reliant on server ticks, I believe. Like, I don't think you actually place 2 meteors, it's just that you make it so that you get you get a stack of 1 debuff, and then you perfectly do it so that you will switch as late as possible, and then you will just barely be able to, like, not get the final stack that kills you before the floor changes, or something to that effect. Like, it's super tight. If you see, like, you open your Wondrous Tales and are like, ah, man, I have Tsukuyomi Extreme, don't do it alone. Just do it with another person. It's way easier. Like, don't do it alone. Or just don't do it, if, like, that's also an option. Right, I'll just go over here and say if you'd like to join me for normal raids, come on over to me. Hey Mules, hope you're doing well. Right, let's see. We have 2 that want in. Is there anyone? Oh, that solves half the problem. And that solves the whole problem. Thank you, Ham and Cat. Ham and Cat. Ham and Cat. Oh, that is a good point, Naomi. Do we have a second person who's willing to heal? We have 2! Oh. This means that does everyone in the group have, like, first of all, does everyone in the group have normal raids unlocked? Just for starters? Just tell me if you don't. Second question is, does, like, just an example, anyone who does not have any Alexander fights unlocked? Does everyone have at least Fist of the Father and Cough of the Father unlocked? I'm just trying to troubleshoot here, so if you don't have these two unlocked, just tell me. Like, it's one step at a time. It says this error if we don't have any eligible duty. Which means that someone in the group, because we have the lowest level we have is 85, someone in the group does not have 2 Alexander duties, 2 Deltascape duties, and 2 Edenscape duties. Someone. Only because I don't have Alexander, but I do have Pandemonium and Eden. So because we have a level 85, Pandemonium wouldn't work. So that's Eden. Does everyone have Eden unlocked? That's a level 80 raid. Jack does not have the Eden raid unlocked. Me too. Hope you're doing well. Rust, if you switch to a level 90 job, we could test if that changes something. It might not. But we'll have more of an answer if you do. That worked. Yeah, so basically, if you try to queue for normal raids and it says no, then it means that it has taken, like, first it takes all of the possible raids that, like, exist, and then it removes anyone that, like, you're not in level range for, like, takes the lowest level player and that decides that, and then they go, okay, so which duties do everyone have? And if it lands on only 1 or 2, I think. Like that like basically, if there's only 1 option, it'll say, well, you don't actually qualify because this isn't random. And I think, but given that we got this, maybe not. But yeah, you need something that everyone can do. So because we have someone who doesn't have any duty, like any raids below level 80, and we have someone who doesn't have the level 80 duties unlocked, we basically need to be level 90. And yeah, that does seem to be the case, Six, that if the intersection is exactly 1, it does seem to work, because Rust only has 1, right? Also, hey Jake, hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm guessing that for the button to be unlocked for the individual, you would need, you know, at least 2. But it does seem like it works as long as there's, like, at least 1. It's a little lenient. But it does make sense that it says no if, like, there's no options. Like, obviously. I believe that's a knockback, by the way. Secret knockback. The hitbox, the boss hitbox is so big. Yeah, this is what we call Endwalker hitboxes. It looks kind of unnatural when we've had Dawntrail hitboxes now, right? It's like once we've seen hitboxes that are normal, we're like, wait a minute. This is a little weird. Oh, whoops. Bra, 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 bra. Oh, 0 damage. Big shields. Sounds as my TBN didn't break. Oh, I guess I shouldn't have used 2 defensive cooldowns. Oops. Salutations, as I've been spamming this fight. That fight? This fight? Like the past 2 hours of the card. Huh. This one? If you mean this one, that is just weirdly surprising. I got so much of this duty back near the end of like very late in Endwalker, because it was the most effective way to farm Mark Tomes. Or it was at least an effective way. Can't remember if it was actually the most effective. Whee! Open coven run. I actually never do that. But I do think it's kind of funny when I do end up with the loot because someone else do it. That fight Zab says, I'm pretty sure you could have solo healed that. That fight is a fight that you can't, like, if everyone's pretty good, you can do it with 1 tank and 7 DPS. If I remember correctly. It's best if the tank is a warrior. So that they can, like, when everyone needs healing, you can give it a good old shake it off. But, the reason why you can get away with it is because if you bring 7 DPS, the fight won't last very long. Like, that intermission with all the color on the floor, you see maybe 1 or 2 hits. It's best if it's a warrior. I can't believe it. Yeah, I know, right, Obama? What? The tank, the healer in a tank suit? Yeah, that's true, Angel. It doesn't have to be a warrior, but it's just, I noticed when I was spamming that warrior was most reliable. Right. Finally, we have alliance raids. And we have one space, so we could have either cat or ham. Cat or ham. If someone else doesn't mind subbing out, we can have both, so that everyone gets a turn. All right, thank you, Zaf. Notably, I have to be the one tank, because I'm leveling Gunbreaker. Is that alright, Ham? Also, just a moment. Well... Ah, that's it. That's actually not that dark. Not that bad. The reason why I remember so vividly doing that duty so many times for Mocktomes is because I remember joining groups, going as DPS, and, you know, tank does their thing, and, like, 9 times out of 10, the tank would be an absolute lunatic who would just be spinning the boss around and doing all sorts of crazy stuff, or worse, forget to use their cooldowns and then die. It got so bad that I made my own groups, and when others were like, actually, I'm a tank main, is it okay if I tank? I just go, no! I'm the tank! Join a different group if you don't want to DPS. You have to DPS, by the way. Only DPS. I'm the tank and everyone else is the DPS. Like, it got that bad. Because, like, every time someone else was making a group, the tank was an absolute lunatic. Like, why? Like, I'm sure it was because you're like, well, this is so easy and it's so boring, I'll just spin the boss. It probably doesn't matter. So what? Just don't spin the boss. Use your defensive cooldowns. And the thing is, usually when you see tanks spinning the boss, it's usually like a case of, well, they didn't actually know that it was a problem. Right? Like, that's the thing. That's also, like, that's part of the reason why I say it's not a bad idea if you, as a player, as part of your mastery of the game, you level one of each role. And when I mean each role, I mean these 5, not tank, healer, DPS. I mean one of each, because then it means that you understand like how tanking works. Hopefully you know how healing works, you know how DPSs work, you know how positionals work, you know how ranged physical think, and you know how mages think. There's of course the possibility that you level your mage with summoner and you think, oh, I know how mages work, they're basically ranged physical and a trench coat. Oh boy, World of Darkness. But there's also the possibility that you understand all of them. But if you never level a melee DPS, you as a tank might not actually realize that there's a reason why you need those, like why you need to stand a little still as a tank, and why those melee DPS run around like they're crazy. Also, yeah, that's true, Aerodil. After all that, we didn't end in a circus. I didn't make it. Why didn't... I think that's the Alliance C one. Why didn't they interrupt it? Someday we'll have a mechanic that makes spinning the boss a solution. That would be funny. Yeah, my point is that while yes, a lot of the time you'll see melee DPS and ranged physical especially just run around like they're crazy. Or like had too much coffee. But to some degree the melee DPS have a reason to do it. But if you're a tank that has never played a melee DPS, you might not understand why. So you just start running around too. Only to get told not to do that. Exactly, Tay. I do it too. If I'm on a job that can move around freely, I'm gonna do it. Absolutely. I paid my range tax. This is my reward. So hey Zoli, hope you're doing well. Nope. Mortal Gaze. Remember, if you get the Doom debuff, you have to stand on the glowy platform to get rid of it. The glowy platform that moves, by the way. No, Rust! You were doomed! Doomed! Yeah. I was like, hey Brandon, hope you're doing well as well. They get to backflip. Yeah. They're all over the place. Yeah, that one too, Tay, as Pictomancer, when you use your hammer. Like, does anyone else also, like, impromptu do a little jump on the step 3? Like, you do the spinny, spinny, spin, and then the jump, and then you also jump to make the jump bigger. I do that on Dragoon with full thrust as well. Like, and then you jump for a very big jump. It also looks really funny if you use the jump action. When you do full thrust, it looks like you're like, you're gone. Liv says, as a bard, I will stand over Narnia. Konewi, just repelling shot. I get hit by something, just nature's min and second wind. I have paid with my damage to stand in Narnia, so I will stand in Narnia. Yeah, Dragoon orbital takeoff. I've had fun with leveling, Brandon. I do enjoy leveling jobs. Although, I do have extensive experience with the Crystal Tower raids. Not entirely of my own will. Healers were very angry about that when Asylum and other bubbles were much shorter. Oh, healers still don't like it when you stand in Narnia. Like, I'm just saying, the advice that I give in my tips for ranged DPS, I think I also mention it in my mistakes ranged makes. That standing in Narnia is bad for your health, because it might mean that you don't get hit by the healer's AoE healing, and some healers take it personally when you do that. They get so mad that you dodge their AoE healing that they decide to not heal you. As in, not just, I'm not going to give you a heal now. As in, well, if you don't want my healing, you can just have none of it. And then they don't cast anything on you for the next 5 minutes. And then you die. That's what Mana Wardens and Buddha Code is for. I guess so. It is really funny though to stand really far away. And it's not like I just never stand far away myself. I think I have had cases where I've like had footage of me standing in Narnia. And I play that footage while I'm saying don't stand in Narnia. The explanation there is you can stand in Narnia. Just don't stand in Narnia when the healer needs to heal you. Right? Like, choose your spots. Make sure, like, if you're going to Narnia, make sure you packed, like, a lunchbox of healing. Or a health bar, at least. So you don't just keel over. How else are you gonna keep up your DPS if you're not ranged as a ranged DPS? Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Yazakuza. It's basically like, if you're always in Narnia for no good reason, then you don't deserve the power to be in Narnia because you can clearly not handle it. But once you can handle it, and you know when it is safe to be in Narnia, then you have much less reason to be in Narnia, but sometimes you will be there. And sometimes the White Witch will make a visit, and then you die. Uh-oh. Oh, wait, the bard actually moved away. See, this is a reason to be in Narnia. Take the spread, the sorta invisible spread marker to Narnia. That's a good choice. Exactly, Start. That was it. The idea of an archer standing right underneath an opponent is also pretty funny. It is. But do think of the sheer, like, strength of the shot when you, like, fire it next to the target. Just thunk. Is there actually, is it worth that, or would it be better to just stab with the arrow at that point? Here's a random tip. If the Atomos targets you for the suck-in, if you just, like, willingly step down, it is a possibility that it will suck in and hit no one, and if that actually happens, it will not do the breath afterwards. It'll just kind of stand there like, oh, I didn't expect you to do that. They should change our close range auto attacks to quiver bonk. Just dunk. Liv says, I think it depends on how close exactly you are. Let's say I'm close enough to stab the enemy with the arrow. Six says, I still don't know how the Atomos here work. The way they work is that they will mark a random player, and after a few seconds they will do a cone suck in, and everyone who is in that cone will get sucked in and then get shot out shortly afterwards. After that, it will cast Shockwave, spawn an at, Shockwave, possibly Shockwave again, and then it will do the mark a person thing again. Look, guys, it's a minimizer you need for entering belly. And yes, Shockwave is a knockback from the middle. The tricks here to that fight is if you just willingly step down from the platform, there's the chance that the Atomos will just miss. If it whiffs and doesn't suck anyone in, then it will not do the follow-up pushback after that. It will do shockwaves after that, but you can waste its time and ensure that only one person gets sucked in. Rather, only one person gets thrown down. And you won't have to waste the time sitting in it, waiting for it to shoot you out. You can just, like, step up once it has attempted and failed. The only other mechanic is the platform in your circle that sometimes starts glowing. It controls the jump-up platforms on one of the other arenas. So if you've been in a situation where you can't get up because the trampoline never activates, that's because one of the other teams isn't doing their part. Just like in Labyrinth, where like you can't attack the Atomos if one of the other teams isn't doing their part. But that's pretty much it. And if you stand perfectly under the Atomos, the shockwave won't even shoot you down, as you saw with me. How do you do your part so other people can jump up? The glowing platform up on, like, the arena, if you step on that, that activates the trampoline on one of the other arenas. So every time it glows, you need to go over and step on it. And it's made such that the Atomos will use shockwave, somewhat coinciding with it, so that it is a little dangerous to go out and do it. But you have to do it. And the reason why it's dangerous is, of course, because, well, if you're standing perfectly under the Atomos, you don't fall off. So you're choosing between the safety of being underneath or going out and helping your fellow teammates. There's also the part that they add, it summons regularly cleaves in front of it. So if everyone is just, like, standing like a lemon underneath it, then everyone will get hit by those cleaves, and you may sometimes have died on the Atomos as a result of that. That would be why. That fight has mechanics, I know, right? Send help. An Emperor's new handgun? They should just call it, the Yu-Gi-Oh! For Kids gun. You seen how they did that? Like multiple times in the original, like, first series of... I think the main tank is dying, everyone. When, like, they censored the handguns out of the series by just having the characters point a finger gun instead. Like, was it Bandit Keith pointing his finger guns at Pegasus and threatening him on his life? Oh yeah, the agents pointing at Kaiba, like... Do you not realize how stupid this looks? I believe also in the original, like in the Japanese version, like, you don't get sent to the Shadow Realm. Like, you straight up die. Like, that's the implication, but that's too evil. So instead, you just get sent to the Shadow Realm. Oh yeah, also the rice balls that are donuts. Jelly-filled donuts. I would have preferred water pistols. That would have been amazing. That would be so funny. I just threaten someone on their life with a water pistol. Like, just for extra credit, make it so that they actually, like, point the gun at them and like squeak squeak, like a little bit of water come out. Like you can see, it is a water pistol. It doesn't just look like one; it is one. Foam handgun. Or like monk, just give them like those like foam gloves. I mean, they've already made some hilarious weapons for monks, like the kettles. Europe got the weird censored for kids stops too. Yes, at some point we got, like in Denmark, we did indeed get Brock saying jelly-filled donuts in Danish. So like, first it went over to for kids, and then it got translated to other languages. Sometimes. Some languages also say something that makes sense for them. I think there's been some weird cases where it was like that some countries got the Japanese version and translated it themselves and things like that. They did the worst thing. Pointing. What's a bayonet? What's a bayonet? A beige net? Zab says there was a massively butchered cut of Silverfang from 26 episodes to 3 2-hour movies. Oh no. We had actual like episodes of Silverfang in Danish, I think. But when my brother bought the full collection, it was like there was JP with, I think, Danish subtitles was an option. You could also get it in, like you could also get Danish quote-unquote dub. But if I remember correctly, the way that it worked was like, it just like turned down the volume of the actual show to like 10% whenever someone spoke. And then it was pretty much just a guy saying what the person was saying. So we were like, 5 minutes in, we're like, maybe we'll just read the subtitles for that one. Bayonets are a type of bread-based snack in France? That makes sense. I mean, it wouldn't be too weird to hear jelly-filled donuts in Danish, because we have donuts. You, like, well, not only do you miss out on the music, you miss out on basically all the sound effects. How much did I start at level 92 or 95? Does anyone remember? I think I started at level 92. So like 3 levels. That's pretty normal. Beignet. Yeah, when you have a translation that is basically, we just had a guy say what they're saying. Yeah, I don't think that qualifies as a dub, at least. At least that's my opinion. But yeah, we managed to get all of the dailies done. Well, the ones we planned to do. Guild has some, am I right? And without even crashing, wow, that's amazing. We had a I think, was it 2 times throughout the stream where the stream like had a hiccup for a second. I don't know if that's on my end or if it was YouTube, might be easier to know if it also does that another day. Because sometimes YouTube is just having a bad day too. But yeah. Let me see, do I have all of my notes on this PC? I think I do. I do, excellent. I think I'm waiting for someone to be able to just throw Leviathan at someone. Ah. That would have been amazing. Could you have had that as a Dawntrail action? Like just instead of what's it called? Searing Flash or something? Where is it? You see in Flash, just instead of that, you just like summon Leviathan and just throw it like almost like flying sardine, just splat. And then people will be like, why don't we have anything like if you say why don't we have anything for like Ramu or Shiva or something, you're gonna be like, do you also want to throw them? That would have been amazing. A Danger Noodle, you just like summon a small Leviathan and just wham! Just throw that. Oh, that would have been amazing. That would be so funny. They could have just done something at level 100. Like, I have to say, like, I'm not the biggest hater on Solar Bahamut. I just feel like they could have done something cooler. The real whip job is summoner with a small Leviathan. Yeah, and Doom Train. That might be a little bit much with how it needs to like summon rails and stuff. It feels like having a set of 3 alternative primals to summon would be an obvious development for Summoner. Yeah, I agree. Wouldn't even need new buttons if you wanted them to be like Phoenix is to Bahamut. They could do that. Like, they could have made it so that, like, the second set of summons just, like, has their own little quirk. Like, they could have just had it so that one of those 3 summons has, like, a cast, just like Ifrit, and one of those has, like, some sort of continuation like Titan, and one of those could have some sort of, like, place AoE, like, Slipstream for Garuda, if they don't want to get too weird with it. But they could also just add a little thing, like, it's one thing for each of them. Meanwhile, like, they decided to do all of this. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 7? No, wait, this is Exodus, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things. And also Lux Solaris. Like, they didn't need, like, they did, like, with that amount of, like, button budget they added, they could have made 3 different primals and given them, like, a thing. And yeah, that's also part of what makes it weird for me, Bits, is that they make it so that Phoenix comes around once every 4 minutes. Like, isn't Solar Bahamut supposed to be a direct upgrade of regular Bahamut? Why isn't it just an upgrade of regular Bahamut? It takes the exact spot in the rotation that Bahamut took. Ham says, I would love to have a way to do 2 summons at the same time. Give me 1 set of GCD and 1 set of OGCD primals. That would be pretty crazy. They could have just added more primals with more varieties that you don't, like, just do the 3. You have, like, 6 to choose from, and you choose 3. That way, they could have also just had it so that there's 2 of them that are slow and, like, dangerous to use, like Ifrit kind of is, relative to the others, and, like, some that are more mobile and things like that, so that you have a choice. Although, obviously, what's going to happen is people are going to go, well, we use the 3 that are most damage. That's it. Ronsom says, I thought about this the other day, and that adding different primals, say, during Phoenix would not actually change anything. It wouldn't. But it would feel like a bigger change. But yeah, I think... Yeah, I can see also that my... that it's getting dark. My camera's saying it's kind of dark. You see the flickering, right? So I would need to turn on lights, or we have to run it out. Doesn't Summoner have a lot of buttons? Summoner actually doesn't have a lot of buttons. You can see there's like 7 free slots here. They have a lot of things. Like a lot of things buttons turn into, but they... Like their actual toolkit is like a 5x5. Searing Light and Summon. And Radiant. Like they have a 6... No, not a 5x5. A 6x3. That's it. And then a bunch of roll actions. And stuff. Yeah, I guess they also have this. They don't have that many buttons relative to other jobs. Like you go, this is a lot. This, like, Pictomancer is known to not have a lot of buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They have 1 less button than Summoner. I think? Yep, 1 less. So that isn't bad. But they have a lot of tooltips. Summoner has a ridiculous amount of tooltips. I can actually, like, look at this. Right, with that said, if you enjoyed this particular stream, it helps me a lot if you leave a like on it in the YouTube stuff. That means that it tells YouTube that this was an enjoyable stream. It'd like other people to enjoy it as well, so thank you so much in advance. And if you'd like to enjoy the company of me or some of the people in the chat, remember that there's a Discord community server that you can join where you'll find me and at least some of the chat, if not most of it. You'll also find the weekly schedule where you can see what else is happening on the channel in the coming days, such as Warrior Guide tomorrow. And you can also find the announcement room where you will find links to videos and streams when they come out. And if you grab if you go to the role assignments room and grab the reminder roll, you'll get a notification when I do post a stream or a video, and an extra one, like an extra notification around 15 minutes before stream starts, so you don't miss a second. Unless, of course, my computer's clock is weird, so I mention it like 20 minutes before, but I'll still mention it. And if you'd like to support the channel even more directly, you can become a member of the channel. You can gift memberships. You can use the super chat system. Or if you don't like the YouTube options, there's also a Ko-Fi link in the description. It all helps to support me and the channel directly. And the support is very much appreciated. So thank you all so much. I think that's everything from me. I'm turning into grain, as you can see. It's getting dark out. With that said, good night, good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are in the world. And hope to see you all very soon. Bye-bye.